Good morning and welcome to the show. The topic this morning is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and we're fortunate to have as our guest this morning the newly elected president of the NAACP, Dr. Michael Grant. And Dr. Grant, let me welcome you to the show this morning.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Dr. Grant, I think that many of us know of many of the activities that you're involved in the community. Not only are you the president of the Nashville chapter of the NAACP, but you also host of a very, very popular morning called-in radio program on WWTN from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. And so I think that in terms of name recognition, many of us know of you. But why don't you give our audience a little additional information about perhaps information relative to your background and how you came to be the president of the NAACP this morning?
Okay, Dr. Haney, I was born in Nashville, 1951. I'm one of 17 children by the same mother and father. We were poor. I spent 3 years of my life in my childhood living in John Henry Hale Home projects. Most people know where they are, over off Joe Johnson. To be honest with you, a lot of what people are seeing now, they're seeing because of my experiences then. Even in the projects back then, we were poor, but the neighbors cared about each other. We didn't have the serious drug problems. There was some hope there. And we were in poverty, and there were a lot of adults, teachers, people who lived there in the community, my relatives, who cared about us. And because they cared about us, I was able to be guided through the years, all the way through to, as you've said, finishing a law school. So I think right now, Dr. Haney, that my responsibility is to give something back. I've got to take some hope back to these kids in John Henry Hale Home and Preston Taylor and the rest. I also would like to give some hope to those African Americans who are being abused on the job site all over Nashville and Middle Tennessee and probably all over this country. I also would like to give some direction, along with our board at the NAACP, on this issue of black economic development. So I came out of poverty, but as Reverend Jackson says, there's no poverty in me. I believe that I am supposed to give back to my community. I have no hatred for the white community at all. To the contrary, I have some respect for the white community, the Jewish community, the Asian communities, because they're able to pull together and get their acts together and survive. The African American community is not surviving because we haven't gotten our act together. And I place most of that blame on us, because once we get it together, we'll be surviving also. Very good.
Now, as the newly elected president of the NAACP, you will have many opportunities to serve as a leader in that new direction. But why don't you give us some information about the NAACP? Okay. Because it's, I think most folks know it as one of the most important civil rights organizations, but why don't you tell us something about the history of why that organization is important?
That's a very good point. In 1909, Dr. Haney, there was a race riot up in Illinois, I think it was Springfield, and a group of whites got together and thought the reason that we had this race riot is because black people are being discriminated against. Blacks cannot vote. There's this problem with disenfranchisement. We're going to have to do something to bring black people into the mainstream. That was in 1909. There was also a movement that was organized under Dr. W.B. Du Bois in 1905 called the Niagara Movement. They were fighting a lot of the legal battles. They were trying to go through the legal channels to enfranchise African Americans. In 1910, those two forces came together and decided to form one organization. That was the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. By 1911, in New York City, they had incorporated what we now know to be the NAACP. The NAACP has had an illustrious history in this country of fighting to make sure that through the legal route, that's both through legislative halls and through the courts, that African Americans' rights as U.S. citizens were protected. The NAACP took on a lot of those battles, was able to raise the money. As you know, during the Civil Rights Movement, it was the NAACP who raised the money and got the sit-in students out of jail and so forth. It was just an absolutely powerful organization. It still is, but it is only as powerful as the local people make it. I don't have to tell you that the local chapter here was somewhat asleep for a while. That's changed, not just because of Michael Grant, but because of a new executive board. There are about, I'd say, 25 to 30 people on this board now who are leaders in their own right. They're professionals, and they've dedicated themselves to the proposition that no one is going to save us but us, and no one should save us but us. So this organization is alive again. It's vibrant. It's going to take on those fights, not to keep confusion going. I mean, we love Nashville, too. This is our home. But we just want to see justice done. We want to see that advancement, that progress made. That's what the NAACP was started for, both by blacks and whites. Today, blacks and whites are members of that organization, and we're going to keep that organization viable so that all Americans can feel at home in this city, this state, and in this country.
Very good. Now, in reference to the directions of the organization in Nashville, what do you see as some of the major challenges to that organization here in Nashville, and how are you planning on meeting some of those challenges?
That's an excellent question, Dr. Haney. The first priority is black economic development, because we have found that in the 50s and 60s, the thrust was for civil rights. We have the laws on the books now that give us first-class citizenship. But what good does it have to have a law on the book to say that you can go out to an amusement park if you don't have the money to go out to an amusement park, okay? What we're finding now is that at the root of most of our problems is economics. You know, we want to see to it that black businesses are built up and supported both by blacks and whites, because we're already supporting white businesses, and there's no reason why the white community can't support black businesses. We want to start teaching our young people to learn the art and science of business, because America is very much on a business agenda right now. So black economic development is a big thrust. We want to see the city government